Hello and welcome to Relatively Crafty, a knitting podcast. I am your host, Christy. I come to you from the Denver area of Colorado, where I live with my husband, Ron, our two kids, Tatum and Delaney, and our tuxedo kitty, Lilu. And I am overdue. Hang on, I'm missing my light. There we go, that's better, right? So yes, overdue. Today is Wednesday, June 6th, and it's been 2.5 weeks since I podcast last. I think 2.5 weeks, something like that. I had all kinds of grand plans to podcast. I even recorded a podcast actually on Saturday, June 2nd, I believe. But, you know, it was awkward. I didn't feel like it went well, and I felt very uncomfortable with it, and so I just decided to scrap it and waited until today to podcast. So hopefully this one will go better. I have more to show you, so that should make it better. So if you are looking for me, you can find me on Ravelry as Christy-Lael, on Instagram and Goodreads as Christy Lael without the dash, and and we have a Relatively Crafty podcast group on Ravelry where we have knit-alongs and giveaways and that kind of thing. Currently we have the spring stuffy knit-along that is going on for the entirety of spring. So it ends on June 20th. You're just supposed to make a stuffy. Any kind of stuffy works. And yeah, and that will probably be my last knit-along for a while. I just to give some time for life to kind of calm down for me here. So, but I do have some prizes for that. I will draw a winner for the FO thread and for the chatter thread, as I do with all of my, as I have done with all of my seasonal knit-alongs. And so, yeah, looking forward to seeing what else you guys can squeeze in. You got, what, almost 3 weeks? No, well, 2.5 weeks with which to make another stuffy or two. I'm sure you can whip out another 20, right? Okay, let's go ahead and get into the knitting. I have 2 FOs to show you. They are both socks, but we like socks, right? These were not the first pair I finished. This is actually the second pair I finished, but they're the ones that are on the blockers right now. So I'm going to show those to you first. I finished my box of socks for 2018. As you know, I'm knitting all of my box of socks out of Knitterly Things Vesper sock. This was a Rainbow of the Month skein from last year for 2017. The colorway is Time and Tide. It was the May Rainbow of the Month color, and I absolutely love it. As you can see, I did my normal stripy recipe. I did a Turkish toe cast on, toe up. I did a true afterthought heel. I did 1x1 ribbing with Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off, and they are done. I am really enjoying knitting all of my Knitterly Things Vesper socks up, and I will still have some more left over when the year is out. I think I have another 3 to 5 skeins sitting up there that haven't been assigned for the box of socks this year. The other pair of socks I finished are also knit-along socks, and that is my Hippo for the Holidays for this month, or for May rather. This is Hippo for Mom, which was slightly different than the one that she did last year, so I was certain to get it. I put a Pride and Joy Little Low Low for the heels and toes, which was a new color that she came out with this year. I think it goes really well with the Hippo for Mom. And yeah, I'm really pleased with how those turned out. She did just announce today, oh, I'm sorry, I did those basically the same as my Knitterly Thing socks, except for I did a Fish Lips Kiss heel instead of an Afterthought heel. But I think I got the email today saying that the Hippo for Independence has been released for 2018, but it is the same as last year's, and I made socks out of last year's with a contrasting heel and toe skein, so I am not going to buy that one this year. However, I did pick up Hippo for Dad, which I will show you when I get to haul. So that is all that I finished. I do have some whips. Let's see, sock whips. What have I got? I've got my next Hippo for the Holidays colorway going, and that is Hippo for Birthdays, which I have to admit is one of my favorites of her Hippo for the colorways for this year. Look at those pretty speckles. And I'm not a big fan of pink, as we all know, but the hot pink mixed with this kind of aqua teal just makes me really happy. And I have paired that with a blue tourmaline Lil Lolo. And you can see that I have got past the heel on this first sock. We went to see Infinity Wars, Avengers Infinity Wars, and I was able to get almost the entire foot done in the movie. I actually really enjoy knitting in the movie theater because it is so dark in there, I don't end up looking down at what I'm knitting, so I just knit, and then when the movie's over, I'm like, oh my goodness, I've done so much. Whereas when I'm knitting, watching a movie at home, I'm looking at it periodically, so it doesn't ever really look like it grows very much. But in the movie theater, when you can't see, it's like the magic growing sock. So yeah, really enjoying these. And then this is for June, for my Hippo for the Holidays. My June box of socks is going to be knit out of this gorgeous skein. This is not one of her Rainbow of the Months. This is actually Boardwalk, what's it called? Boardwalk Games, which is one of the colors that she put out last year, and I couldn't pass it up. It's so bright and happy. So I'm very much looking forward to getting those started. However, I haven't been knitting on socks since this weekend because I've been working on my sweater. Aren't you guys proud of me? I haven't made a lot of progress, but I have made some progress. I am, well, I guess I should say that the sweater that I am referring to, the sweater to which I am referring is the Blue Sands cardigan, which looks like this. I am knitting it entirely out of Volniza DK in 3 different colors, a nice lime green, ooh, that's bright, a red, and this really pretty orange. And I started it several months ago, I think 2 months ago maybe, and then it just kind of fell off my radar when I started this job, which I will say I have now been at almost exactly a month. Tomorrow will be my 1-month anniversary at this job, and I'm really loving it, but that's neither here nor there. But now that I'm kind of feeling like, yeah, I can get back into knitting sweaters. So here is what I have got so far. Oh, wait, I can do this. There we go. So still not very far. I mean, I haven't even finished the raglan increases, but I have moved on to the second color. So I'm in the second stripe, and that I think is saying something. I was right about here when I podcast about this last. So it has grown, and it is steadily growing now. It took me a while to remember where I was, but I'm really liking it. Now this red is my main color. So the green, this is the only bit of green on the main body, and then there will be 2 stripes of green right at the top of the sleeves. And then there will be 2 stripes of orange down further on the body, but the rest of the sweater is red. And yeah, I'm really liking it. I'm looking forward to when the weather will cool down again, because it's a little bit warm lately. We've been getting some high 80s and 90s, which is not my favorite type of weather. I don't like to have to run my air conditioner at home, and I don't like to sweat, and I have to admit that in our 2-story home, the top floor, which is where the bedrooms are, including the bedroom I'm sitting in, it doesn't get cooled off quite as much as downstairs. So I am, and I can't have the fan going when I'm podcasting because it's really loud, so it's really warm in here. Whew. Okay, so that's it. That's it for all of my knitting. That didn't take very long, but I do at least feel like I've made some proper progress that I could show you. I don't have a whole lot to show you for hauls either. I will show you that I got Hippo for Dad 2018 because she changed this one up a little bit too. And because when I knit this colorway last year, I knit it into a hat for my brother, and I got a bourbon Lolo to go with it. So that will be my July pair of socks, because the Hippo for birthdays is my June pair of socks. And I won't be getting Hippo for Independence, as I said, but I do have the Helping Hippos up there that I could use. So we'll see how it goes. There's only so many hippos left, and they're at the end of the year. I knit most of them into socks, and that's my goal, is to get 12 pairs of hippo socks this year. So I'm hoping that she will come out with a couple more different hippo colorways, or change the ones from last year so that I can still make the full 12 socks. I went to knit night last night, and even though I don't need it, I picked up some more yarn. They had an Andromeda sock yarn pop-up shop this past Saturday that I missed because I was at the movies with my family, but they had lots left over, so I grabbed this gorgeous speckled thing. This is Happy Hipster, and it's just a beautiful speckled, bright speckled yarn. And I grabbed it because, if you're not familiar with Andromeda, she does not repeat any colorways. So anything that you see of hers that you really like, you need to grab it then, because you're not going to get another one. So I didn't want to miss out on all of those gorgeous orange speckles right there. And then my yarn shop puts out, or has some deals with some of the indie dyers, and they have a color of the month. They have for a while. I don't always get it, but I did happen to really like June's color, which is just this beautiful chartreusey green and yellow. It's being so blown out. I apologize. You're not getting that. You're not getting that color true. It's a beautiful, like, lemongrass green here, and then a bright yellow here. It's just really, really pretty. So I will make that into socks sometimes. This is Chasing Rabbits, Fiber Co., which is one of my favorite indie dyers the shop carries, and the colorway is Colorful June. And then my last haul to show you is a whole sweaters quantity, but it's not just, oh, Christy, you've been... It's a whole sweaters quantity, but it's not one of those, oh, Christy, you've been a glutton again. This is, do you guys remember the rainbow striped sweater that I knit for my mom last year? It looks like this. I got that yarn that was fiber that I had purchased, or that my mom had purchased rather, in Solvang, California when we were there on a trip. And the idea was that I was going to spin it. I was going to learn how to spin, and then I was going to spin it into a sweater's quantity and make a sweater for my mom. But I quickly learned that spinning is just not my bag, and so sent it to my friend in New Zealand who spun it over a amount of time and sent it back to us, and then I knit the sweater for my mom. When I sent her the yarn for my mom in the rainbow colors, I also sent her a sweater's quantity of fiber for myself, and she just got it finished recently and sent it back to me. So I now have a purple and blue gradient something with which to make a sweater, and I don't know exactly how I'm going to do these or what sweater I'm going to make. I think I had a plan when I bought the fiber, but that was like 4 years ago. So anyway, I'm just going to enjoy it right now for what it is, as the most beautiful hand spun. So I've got, let's see, kind of go this way. I've got a nice lavender and a pretty plum. I've got double the amount of this royal purple, and then this really dark bluish purple, almost like a deep navy indigo. And then I've got royal blue, like a darker royal blue. I've got a lighter royal blue. And then I've got a double amount of this beautiful aqua teal. Again, I have no idea what I'm going to do with it. But it will be a sweater eventually, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's kind of like a heavy DK light worsted weight. It's beautifully spun. I really enjoyed knitting the sweater for my mom. I had some issues with the pattern, but I enjoyed knitting the yarn. So yeah, I'm looking forward to making this into a sweater sometime. If you have some great ideas for a pattern, please feel free to share, because I do need to come up with something eventually to use for this yarn, because it's so gorgeous. I can't let it go to waste. Okay, so I guess we'll talk a little bit about books. I don't have a lot to say. I did finish Bird Box. I don't have it with me anymore because I loaned it to my brother and he hasn't read it yet. But I really liked that. That was by Josh Mallerman. I really, really enjoyed that. It was a good, scary, but not too scary book. And then I've been feeling very ready lately. Been listening to a lot of audiobooks and watching some booktube videos. Booktube is like the book part of YouTube, like knitting podcast or the knitting part of YouTube. And so I've been watching a lot of those and trying to kind of go through my bookshelves and really look at what it is that I have, and if I'm really going to read it, because there's several books that I bought just simply because I had heard about them, and I'd found them on Book Outlet for super cheap, or they had a pretty cover. I am not ashamed to admit that I buy books by covers often. And so I've kind of really been going through my shelves, and I'm pleased to say that I have taken off about 100 books. Some of them are books that I haven't read. A lot of them are books that I haven't read, or I've read one of the author's other books and I didn't like it, and I had several, so I got rid of them. And I know I'm not going to want to read them, or if I do want to read them, I could probably borrow them from the library. Some of them are books that I have already read that are like middle grade, that I'm not going to want to read again, that I've taken into my daughter's rooms. my daughter's room. They share a room. One daughter. No, one room, two daughters. And then some of them are books that I have read that I liked, but I'm just not going to read them again. There's just, you know, this one is the closest one to me. This is The Coldest Girl in Cold Town by Holly Black. It's a vampire YA novel. I enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars when I read it, but I'm not going to read it again. It's just not one that I'm going to pick up again. So, and again, if I want to, I can always pick it up from the library. So I have a lot more room on my shelves, which I feel good about. And I'm being a little bit more picky about what it is that I'm picking up. But I did go to my library. I picked up this book, which is all glary right now. How about that? The House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski. That took me a lot longer than it should have. This is supposed to be a really creepy book. I had never heard about it before. It's about 18 years old. I think it was written in 2000. And yeah, I don't even know how to explain it. I'm gonna read the synopsis to you. If you're not interested, please feel free to, like, you know, skip this part, but I can't figure out how to describe it. So it says, years ago, when House of Leaves was first being passed around, it was nothing more than a badly bundled heap of paper, parts of which would occasionally surface on the internet. No one could have anticipated the small but devoted following this terrifying story would soon command. Starting with an odd assortment of marginalized youth, musicians, tattoo artists, programmers, strippers, environmentalists, and adrenaline junkies, the book eventually made its way into the hands of older generations, who not only found themselves in those strangely arranged pages, but also discovered a way back into the lives of their estranged children. Now, for the first time, this astonishing novel is made available in book form, complete with the original colored words, vertical footnotes, and newly added second and third appendices. The story remains unchanged, focusing on a young family that moves into a small home on Ash Tree Lane where they discover something terribly wrong. Their house is bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. Of course, neither Pulitzer Prize-winning photojournalist Will Davidson nor his companion Karen Green was prepared to face the consequences of that impossibility until the day their 2 little children wandered off and their voices eerily began to return another story of creature darkness, of an ever-growing abyss behind a closet door, and of that unholy growl which soon enough would tear through their walls and consume all of their dreams. Creepy, right? And it's kind of like mass media. There's some really weird bits that only have a couple of pages. There's, like, I don't know, it's interesting. So I've heard good things on Goodreads. It's got some really raving reviews, and some people have said it scared the pee water out of them, so we'll see if I make it through, but I am very interested in it. I am just waiting to finish Emmy and Oliver, which is what I am currently reading. This is a YA book. I will say that House of Leaves is an adult book. Emmy and Oliver is a story about 2 kids that were best friends, next-door neighbors, until the age of 7, when Oliver's dad kidnaps him and takes him away. But Oliver doesn't realize he's being kidnapped, and so he just thinks that his mom disappeared for 10 years. And everybody else has been searching for him for 10 years. He's finally found when they're 17, and he's come back. And Emmy and Oliver are trying to deal with just kind of the awkwardness of not knowing if Oliver was alive for the whole time. You know, just how do you come back into your life, and how do you have somebody come back into your life who's been gone for 10 years under such traumatic circumstances? So this is good. It's sad, you know, and it's, you know, it's like it's a very serious book, but I am enjoying it. And that's about it. So I'll let you know, hopefully by the time I podcast next time, I will have at least started House of Leaves, if even if I didn't manage to finish it. But yeah, that's it for today, guys. I do appreciate all the well wishes when I mentioned last podcast that I was looking to kind of maybe go to every other week. It looks like that's definitely what I'm going to be doing, and I don't think that I'm going to have a set podcast day anymore. It just doesn't seem like that's going to work out. I thought maybe doing it on the weekends, but the weekends are often filled with family time and outings and housework and that kind of thing, and can't always guarantee that I can have the time to podcast, or that I'd be in the right frame of mind to podcast, which I think is what happened last Saturday. I was not feeling all that spectacularly emotionally, and so it came through in my podcasting. So yeah, I'm just gonna kind of play it by ear and do it as often as I can, and it's probably going to be one of those things where I record one day and then edit, you know, a day or two later, and then, you know, so just be patient with me. It'll come. It'll keep coming. I promise they'll keep coming. So as long as you guys want to keep watching them, I'll keep making them. Well, I'd probably even make them if nobody watched them, because I just really enjoy it. So anyway, let's see what else is going on. I told you that I'm almost at my job for a full month. I feel like I have really starting to find myself there. I'm enjoying the work and understanding the work, and starting to work out the routine, you know, of working full time. I'm still coming home really tired, but it's a little bit better now because I don't have to get the kids to school because they're out for summer break now. So I get to get up in the morning and just get myself ready, which is nice. My mom and my dad and brother have moved into their house, which is great. They're still coming a couple of days a week for dinner, which is fine, but they're out of my yarn room. And my mom will be here on Sunday. I'm very, very excited. So that will be the last. She's coming with my uncle, and then the unpacking for reals will finally start happening. Dad's been doing a little bit, but not very much, because he knows he'll put everything in the wrong position, you know, the wrong place, and Mom will end up having to redo it when she gets here. So yeah, it'll be really great to have them close, all of them. I have been really enjoying having my dad and brother close. We've been able to do things. As I said, I've got all these books that I'm going to get rid of. I'm going to take them to Second and Charles, which is a local used media store. They take books and movies and music and video games and all that kind of stuff, and they trade it in and they sell them used. And so I'm taking Justin with me to go to there. Part of the reason is because I want to introduce him to this amazing store, but the other reason is because I have, you know, like 100 books to trade in, and they're heavy, and he's strong, so but it is nice to just say, hey, you want to come over, or you want to come and do this, or you want to go do that with me, because, you know, they're right here, instead of, you know, when you come at Christmas, we got to make sure that we hit all these places. Now they're here, you know, and soon my mom will be here, and that will make everything complete. I'm really looking forward to it. So, yeah. All right, guys. I think that is the end of it for me today. I'm going to go ahead and edit this. I've only got about 32 minutes worth of recording, so the editing shouldn't go too badly, and hopefully maybe I can even get this loaded tonight. So have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday, and I will talk to you guys later. Happy knitting. Bye.